I'm excited about this week's episode. We're going to unveil a new segment titled The Horse Stables. What could that be? We're going to still stick with the classics like waiver wire ads in the Word on Wall Street. We'll sprinkle in a little trivia fun, then wrap things up with Bucco Talk. This is Good Faith and Fastballs. All right, everybody, welcome. This is episode 8 of Good Faith and Fastballs. We titled this one, It's Almost June. Here we are on May 20th, approaching the next flip in the calendar. We are your hosts, Sean from Imperial, as well as a.k.a. Zums, a.k.a. Zum from McDonald. A lot of nicknames over there. But like we said in the open, new segment for you guys this week. It's titled The Horse Stables. Zum is the horse doctor himself. That nickname is proven, tried, and true. So we're gonna, continue that trend with some fun. The horse stables. We've kind of tossed this around in the past, but Zum and I have each come up with our top 5 pitchers going right now in Major League Baseball, AL and NL, that we think are currently the top 5 arms moving forward. Now we'll continue to do this each week. It'll be reoccurring, so it'll be fun to see, which quote unquote horses come into the stable and maybe leave, because they're always it's always competitive. So Zum, we'll start with you. If you want to unveil your top 5 horses in the Zummy horse stable.
Yeah, Sean, thanks. I think I'm going to start 5-1, and I'm going to say the number 5 horse right now is somebody we've seen on this list in the past. We just weren't sure what he was going to look like this year due to the injury concerns. It is Mr. Zach Wheeler from the Philadelphia Phillies. Sean, I don't know if you want to go through these individually, one by one, as I name them, or if you want me to list them and then we can discuss them. What do you think the best course of action here?
Let's unveil 5 through 1. We'll do one quick swoop, and then we'll dissect zombies, and then we'll go over to mine.
We'll cherry pick here. So Zach Wheeler's my number 5 horse right now. Another guy who's just continuing to do it down in Atlanta. Chris Sale at number 4. Number 3, some new blood coming in here. Jacob Misiorowski, starting pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. Hard throwing. Number 2, Sean, you're going to like these next 2 that I have here. Number 2 is Cam Schlittler with the New York Yankees, and the number 1 horse in the stables right now. We got a nice up-close look at him this last weekend in Pittsburgh, Sean, is Christopher Sanchez. That's who I have at number 1. What say you?
So I'll go ahead and unveil mine here. Do the same here, 5 through 1. Definitely, there's some different names on each of our lists. I'm going to start with number 5 on the Toronto Blue Jays, Dylan Cease, just racking up strikeouts. If he can get the walks under control, he can take it to another level, but he's going to be in the running for AL Cy Young at the end of the year. Jacob Misiorowski at 4. Just looking at him coming off the mound, he is just so intimidating looking because the ball just gets on you so quick. He's my 4th pitcher. Then 2 of my guys here at 3 and 2, Cam Schlittler with the New York Yankees and Christopher Sanchez with the Philadelphia Phillies. I am proud to have both these guys as a part of the Freemason Freddies. And then number 1, I'm sticking with my guns with our guy here in the great city of Pittsburgh, PA, Paul Skeens, a.k.a. Big Country. Now, Zum, so I think this is going to be right for, sports talk here, fantasy baseball sports talk, because we have a few of the same guys and have a few different names. I'd like to start with Zach Wheeler on your list. Now, big fan of Wheeler, coming off of the shoulder thoracoscopic, whatever you call it, surgery.
Thoracic outlet.
Yes,
syndrome is
that
what he
one.
had. Yep.
That one. I believe that was what got Matt Harvey, if I'm not mistaken. But Wheeler, quick turnaround as far as time missed. He got back. I believe it was either I think it was earlier this month, beginning of May, as he's been back for a while. Um, and here he makes your number five. I didn't have him on my list just because the strikeouts are a little down, 8.53, but he's still he's still Zach Wheeler. What do you think of him?
All right, so I'm going to tie in our fantasy league here a little bit. He was drafted at 97th back on March 15th, which I thought was extremely early, just based upon the uncertainty surrounding him. As you guys have come to know about me, I'm not a huge fan of taking on that kind of investment when there's that much uncertainty. That being said, he was traded on May 4th. Zach Wheeler was traded along with that's it. Zach Wheeler for Spencer Arrighetti and Peyton Toll from Boston. And at the time, I said, "Wow, that seems silly." Like, I think Zach Wheeler is going to be good. That's when he had first come back. And not only has he been good, Sean, since he's come back, 3-0. ERA is 1.99. His WHIP is 0.88. Ks per nine is a little bit low, 8.53, and his xFIP is 3.05. Now, that being said, his velocity is up, which is certainly encouraging for a guy coming off an injury like that. Um, I honestly, once we revisit the most dynamic pitching duos in the league, I'm gonna be hard pressed not to be putting Chris Sanchez and Zach Wheeler up there as the number one duo right now. Um, Sean, I think you've kind of turned me on to the xFIP statistic. We know that you're a huge fan of the xFIP statistic. It's basically, hey, what would the ERA be with, taking into account ballpark factors and a league average defense, 3.05. Again, anything under, I would argue anything under 3.2 is fairly elite for the most part. So everybody on this list that we have right now is under that number. I just think he's kind of turned it back a little bit. The Phillies are making a surge. I don't know if they were ever going to be beaten down for that long, given the roster construction over there. But yeah, I mean, people who invested heavily in Zach Wheeler only really losing a month overall with him. I think look very very smart today, sitting here on May 20th.
No, I want to adjust. So the XFIP, you are on board with XFIP now. Is that right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of statistics that I could be on board with. It's just that there's too many, and I am a data-driven person, but there's sometimes there's just too many to look at. But I think when you look at it, you can't just look. First off, you can't look at win loss for the most part. That's not really a true pitching statistic. That's more roster construction and an offense statistic, in my opinion, anyways. But ERA, it can be misleading. So I think when we look at xFIP, I think we got to look at, hey, where are we talking about in terms of possible regression? And I think when you talk about trying to forecast forward about positive regression or negative regression, basically regression to the mean, that's how you make your decisions about a guy that you think is overperforming or underperforming. Therefore, kind of frames the conversation about, can I make a deal? Should I make a deal? What do I need to look out for with this guy? So that's what I think about.
That warms my heart that you are leaning in on XFIP. I would say I've been using it for 8 years now. I
I,
think, yeah.
Yeah, you have been because I remember standing right when I moved in to my house, which would have been in 2021. I remember having a conversation with you when I was standing in my garage and you were talking XFIP and you were beating the door down for XFIP and I had no idea what the hell you were talking about. So I can certainly vouch that you probably were beating down the door for XFIP even prior to that conversation
I was
because you
early
were
on
very
XFIP.
you were very well versed in XFIP about 5 years ago, which means that you had to have known about it for significantly longer than that. So I can
Yeah,
certainly vouch for that. You're an honest
I,
guy, and I appreciate that about you.
I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, I just think it's a metric that just makes a ton of sense. It's expected fielding independent pitching, which is a mouthful, but essentially they use all the surrounding metrics that they can, like an average defense. And the big one is, a lot. So let's just, slice and dice this really quick. Let's say, someone's exit velocity is 100 miles an hour when they hit the ball, right? 100 mile an hour. Sometimes it goes for a single. Sometimes it goes for a home run. Is that, can you say that's luck? Maybe, because if the ball, is this much higher on the bat, it's a home run. This much lower, it's a single. So they try and average out, get rid of all the kind of luck, and it really comes out to I think it's much
Well,
superior to ERA.
not only that, Sean, and like what happens if there's a home run that's hit against a pitcher and it's a home run in 1 out of 30 ballparks?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it removes stuff like that as well, which I would argue is called the luck factor in all of this as well. So it kind of prices that in as well.
Yep.
So you can't just look at high metrics; you got to look underlying.
Awesome. So, all right, back to the stable. Another one I wanted to call out, and you've been critical of my love for Chris Sale in the past, but here he is, your fourth horse in the stable. Can you share a few thoughts on Chris Sale making it? He was not in my five, but I'm a fan.
I mean, I'm not sure how much more of a case that I have to make. He's the staff ace down there in Atlanta who's running away right now with the NL East 6-3 record, 196 ERA, a WHIP of .91, Ks per nine at almost 10.5 with an xFIP of 311. All of those numbers are elite. Um, he I've always been critical of him because I just don't know where he's going to land each year in terms of injuries. And I guess you could probably argue that with most pitchers nowadays. It seems like seemingly every day we're looking and we're getting alerts on the X machine that there's a new pitcher down or that somebody's going to the 15 or 60-day IL. He hasn't recently, which is good for him. They need him to stay healthy down there. If you guys remember, I think it might have been either episode 1 or episode 2 where we talked about what's going to happen in Atlanta with this pitching staff. All they've done since then is succeeded. They're one of the top staff rotations in all of baseball right now, and it's headlined by Chris Sale. He's a been there, done that kind of guy, and he's getting the offense to support him. So I mean, he's certainly putting up dynamic numbers down there in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, good to see Chris Sale going. I've always liked the frame on him. We've talked about one of his teammates, Spencer Strider, having just way too much meat on a lot of muscle, and they pull stuff all the time. Sales is just skin and bones and just still shoving. So glad to see him there. Zum, last one. You don't have Paul Skeens on here. What are your thoughts there?
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm too close to the situation here, and maybe his losses when he pitches bad just makes everything feel a whole heck of a lot worse. So maybe I'm a victim of that right now as well. But, I think when we're talking about this list, I think about right now in this picture, I just don't see him as a better pitcher right now than the 5 guys that I have on the list. Meaning, if I were to have a game today, and you're going to call me crazy for saying this, I would still rather have all 5 guys that I have on my list over Paul Skeens starting. He has already had 3, I would call them very below average starts, 2 awful starts. His swing and miss stuff, while his strikeout rate is high, his sweeper hasn't been consistent. He's not getting a ton of chases out of the zone. Like his Ks per nine are 10.3, xFIP is 2.91. That's all good. I like the other guys more what they're doing right now. And again, like I said, maybe I'm the victim of the most recent start that he had, where he went heads up against Zach Wheeler, and Zach Wheeler made him look like a grade school pitcher in terms of comparison. I've never once said that about Paul Skeens, and I'm hesitant to do it now. But leaving him off the list did feel it felt strange to me. But I can safely say I like these other 5 guys, and I guess the question becomes, Sean from Imperial SFI, um, if we were to have a redraft right now, it doesn't matter if it's an 8-team, 10-team, 12-team, 20-team, what have you. It doesn't matter the dynamic of the league. Do you truly believe that Paul Skeens would be the first pitcher off the board right now?
So
I
let's say Stueble's out, right? Stueble's out.
Yeah. Let's assume
Yeah,
that anybody who's healthy is healthy right now.
yeah. But how it is today, yes, he is 1-1 in my heart, no doubt about it. And this is where I kind of
He's 1-1. He's 1-1 in your heart. Is he 1-1 in your head?
yes, because I trust the back of the baseball card, and the guy has just totally showed up for this team, and what he's done so far is I think is just incredible. Going from the NL Rookie of the Year to the NL Cy Young, and then I mean, if you look at I'm looking at his fan graphs right now, everything looks fine as far as the underlying metrics and things like that. He did give up the 5 earned last start out to the Phillies, But for me, this is a totally trust the back of the baseball card. Paul Skeens is still the best pitcher in baseball, and that's why I have him as number one on my list. Another thing, so I get, this is all for fun, and I definitely was taking into consideration, uh, historical trends. So yeah, so like Sale definitely historically is awesome. Now, will he eventually get hurt? So just looking at everything, I still think pound for pound, Paul Skeens is the ace in the deck. I really truly believe that. But every guy in your list is elite. These are the best of the best, which I think comparing pitchers and going under the hood on pitchers is the best part about fantasy baseball, because like you mentioned, there's so many injuries, and in week to week, the team that scores more points with their pitching staff typically ends up winning. For example, if no matter what kind of format you're in, you're trying to rack up starts at the beginning of the week. So on Monday, you want 8, 9, 10 starts at the end of the week. So once you start having these injuries, and for me, for example, I have Christopher Sanchez and Cam Schlittler. Man, I could pretty much trade with anyone if I really wanted to. So it's gonna be fun doing this every week, because obviously guys are gonna come and go. We wish everyone would stay healthy, but that won't be the case. I have a feeling Paul Skeens is gonna be back in Zum's top five after he'll go to like the Brewers will come to town and he'll go 8 scoreless and he'll be back in your top five.
Sean, give me a name of somebody who made neither of our lists that we would maybe classify as an honorable mention. I will start by giving you one, and I would say my name, and I'm not going to expand too much on this. It is Chase Burns. Do you have a guy that you would like to highlight as possible honorable mention on this list?
Yeah,
Maybe a guy who's lurking, ready to jump.
yeah, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't bring up Shohei Ohtani. It kind of he's
He's an interesting
kind of
case.
annoying.
He's an
Kind of
interesting
annoying.
case study. Yeah.
Yeah, like he just really throws a wrench in things for fantasy baseball. Because like when he is at his best, it's really totally unfair if like he's literally hitting dingers and striking out 10 guys in the same game. Like it makes things interesting and difficult.
But
He only has
he's not doing that this year.
No, he's not. He's actually like a better pitcher than he is hitter, but that can change. He has somewhere around 40 innings pitched, so less than uh, most of the guys on this screen, all the guys that we're showing. But his ERA and his WHIP are below 1. And he's striking guys out. So I think we would be mistaken if we didn't mention his name, but I don't think we're wrong for not including him here. This again, we've talked about the Dodgers at nauseum, how you can't really take their pitching staff at face value. That they're just so loaded on offense that everything works out for them. So they'll probably ease him the whole season as far as watching his innings. So I don't think it was a mistake not putting him in our top five. But
It's a volume thing. It's always going to be a volume thing there. 6-man rotation. It's going to be how are they managing him? How do they want to marry the idea of him being an elite hitter with an elite pitcher? Like I feel like he can click on both, but we haven't seen a sustained track record of him clicking on both the hitting and pitching side at the same time for an extended period of time. He's still far and away the highest point getter in our league, Sean. So
last question. NL only. Who wins the Cy Young?
Chris Sanchez.
I love that answer, but I'd still take Skeens. They are neck and neck. I wrote down the odds. This was as of May 20th this morning. The odds of the NL Cy Young: Skeens plus 240, Sanchez plus 250, Mizorowski plus 550, Sale plus 550. So that'll be a great race down the stretch. But man, all these arms are spectacular.
Let me ask you a question about that. The plus 240, plus 250, plus 550, plus 550. Were there any other pitchers on that list, or did you only pull the odds of the people that we were reviewing?
That's the top. Those are the 4 favorites in order.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, and this was done independently of us sending our list over, so that is interesting. So it looks like the odds makers agree with our list here as well.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Moving along, let's get into some waiver wire ads now. Um, we're in a 20-team league. Would you agree that the waiver wire has kind of cooled off from maybe 3 weeks ago in our league?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I still look every single day just to see, I more so look at it to see who people are dropping to see who I can scoop up. But yeah, and there's certainly not many transactions that are happening. We still see activity daily, which is crazy to me. And there's money being thrown around out there for guys. But yeah, it's certainly, I think the stove has kind of cooled off a little bit.
Yeah, it's as far as what's left, and it totally makes sense, right? Like in April, you're looking for guys that weren't drafted that got out to a hot start. You're obviously going to pick them up, and then as we creep into June, those opportunities, in a 20-team league start to vanish. But we know not everyone's in a 20-team league, but we're here to help because we got all this visibility, right? And so we targeted 3 hitters, 3 pitchers that we think should be scooped up if you're looking for help in any of these areas. There's a few here. One in particular is that I can't wait to talk about. We'll revisit this from a previous episode, but leading off here, and I want to get your opinions. I think I stick by this. Joe Adele, outfielder for the Los Angeles Angels, provided us that great image of him. He robbed the home run and went over the fence and held with the ball while he's standing in the crowd. That was cool, but you don't get points for that. He's 39% owned. In 2026, he has a 673 OPS, 250 average, 6 home runs, 27 RBI, 16 runs scored, and 2 swipes. Now, coming up through the minors, he was a highly touted prospect that for a while people were calling him a bust, and then kind of had a late resurgence in his career. I still think the ceiling's still high for him, but if you're looking for an outfielder, I think that's name considered. You feel strongly one way or the other about Joe Adele?
I don't feel strongly. I think we got to frame it again, though, and just remind people that this is all, based upon the league that you're in. So, have I tried trading for Joe Adele in a 20-team league? Sure. Multiple times, probably every single week, my outfield was lacking severely. Now, the underlying stuff there isn't great. So he's averaging 1.7 points per game. He's the around 48th to 51st position ranked outfielder right now, 85 points in our points leagues in ESPN. He was drafted 177th for us. That is the tail end of round 8. I don't know, Sean. I think late last year, that there was a nice surge for him. He had 37 bombs, 98 RBI, 26.4% K percentage. Average was lacking at 236. The baseball savant page pretty much mirrors that as well. Um, he's a guy that I can certainly look to for power. I don't love the underlying stuff. I think he's probably closer to a 20 home run hitter than he is a 37 home run hitter like he was last year. He's striking out a little bit less than last year. His batting average balls in play is close to 300 right now, so his average is 250. I anticipate his average to trickle down as well. He's historically a 220-ish, 230-ish hitter. He's batting 250 right now, so I expect some regression there. I'm not a huge fan of the wins above replacement, but for people that are, he has an offensive WAR of 0. You know, not a huge fan of citing that statistic either. I'm not even entirely sure what goes into the nature of that, but again, I think it all comes down to if you're in a shallower league and you're in a league with 10 to 12 teams, he's probably somebody who's still floating out there. If he's available in a 15 team, 16 teamer, sure, I would certainly take a shot on them because I think the value and the possible upside on a guy like that, you just don't find it out there at this point in the season. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for me, it's the 37 dingers last year and the 98 RBI. You hope that he can bottle some of that up, and he's with Mike Trout. Trout hit a home run last night. Hopefully my man Trout can stay healthy all year, and maybe Joe Adele can keep it going. Excuse me, Dom. All right, here's another name. This could be uh, this could be a nice play. He's only 38% owned. and we're talking about the second baseman for the Baltimore Orioles, Jackson Holliday. He did make his season debut last night. He went 0 for 2. But last year, I didn't realize he hit 17 home runs. Only a 690 OPS, 55 RBI, 70 runs scored, and 17 swipes. Um, are you still holding on hope that Jackson Holliday turns into the superstar that everyone thought he'd be?
Well, the Orioles certainly need him to. They're in right now a gauntlet of a division, and when I'm looking, I own a lot of their pitchers, the Orioles pitchers in fantasy, so I'm closely tracking those guys. And every time I go to see their scores, they're down by like 6 to 8 runs, unfortunately, which means I'm getting dinged with Shane Baz, formerly getting dinged with, Kyle Bradish as well. So, Baltimore certainly needs him to be the guy that they drafted 1-1 overall. So, yeah, that might have been the quietest 17 home runs that have ever been hit in Major League Baseball last year, Sean. I didn't know that either. That was across 650 plate appearances. Strikes out 21% of the time. That's, okay. He's not walking all that much. He batted 242 last year. He's a young guy. I'm willing to give him a little bit of leash, but I just went to go look back to see when he was drafted in our 20 teamer, and he was drafted 200th overall. So the last pick in the 10th round overall, and he was held the entire time. So again, not available for people like you and I. But again, it just depends who you're dropping in order to pick him up. So I know we're going to kind of chat here at the end of this, but when we post these videos out there, we are looking for feedback and conversation about, what should I do? Does this make sense? If you can shoot us over some hypotheticals, hey, I'm adding Jackson Holliday, I'm dropping Gleyber Torres, for example, good or bad rest of season, standard format, yada, yada, yada. I think with them we can probably advise, but in a vacuum, I'm willing to give him a little bit of a leash. I just don't know right now, coming off that injury, the kind of player he's going to be. So,
Yeah, I think just because he's only 22 years old, had tons of pedigree. Matt Holliday's son. I bet that he ends up being an all-star a handful of times in his career. Now, what year will he really take off? I don't know. Maybe it'll be this year. We'll have to check back later. All right. The last hitter, and this one kind of pains me because I'll admit I think I made a mistake when I dropped him. I,
I,
I
ha-
think
I
I
have him.
dropped.
I have him as well. I had him as well, Sean. So we're in the
So
same
we're in
boat.
the same boat. Are we saying his name is Brian? It's got to be Brian, right? Brian Rocchio,
Rokio is correct. Yes.
34% owned on the Cleveland Guardians. 773 OPS, 282 batting average, 4 home runs, 27 RBI, 22 runs, 8 swipes. He plays shortstop for them. Um, 8 swipes is nice. He's 773 OPS. He's 10 for a little bit of pop. Uh, are you also having some remorse about letting him slip through your fingers?
So I like the functionality in the ESPN app where you're able to click on the player profile and you're able to go down to all the transactions involving said player. And right now I'm pulling it up. I had Brian Rocchio. I added him to my roster on April 20th at 11 a.m. for $15.
Mm-hmm.
I dropped him on that same day at 3:44 p.m. So I had him for a grand total of 4 hours and 44 minutes, and I was out $15. Sean, you then added him the next day for $40, and you were a bit more patient. You held on to him for about 15 days, of which he was picked up 2 days later on May 8th and has been held ever since. And I imagine the holding pattern will continue for him based upon the performance. I was watching the highlights the other day of their game, and they were up significantly on a team late in the game, and he ended up swinging on a bad pitch against Detroit, and he just looked so dejected about letting his team down, and I absolutely love that. The guy cares. They're in a really, really bad division, especially with Skubal being out there for the Tigers. I think he's going to be instrumental. 22 runs, 4 home runs, 27 ribbies, 8 steals. Those aren't numbers to sneeze at. He's certainly putting up some good numbers right now. There is some underlying stuff. He's not typically a power guy, and I think the 4 home runs kind of bear that out. But we're on pace here roughly for 90-ish RBIs, 85 runs. My goodness gracious. Come on, you're going to pick that guy up and for pennies on the dollar? Give me a break. Absolutely. Huge fan of Brian Rocchio.
Yeah, and the rich get richer in our league. Doug, who is undefeated, is the one that scooped him up. So maybe there's a reason
The
Doug
rich, the
is.
rich get richer.
That's right. Awesome. So those are our three hitters that we pinpointed for you as far as waiver wire targets. And then let's get over to some pitching. Zom, this is an easy one for me. Now, to our viewers at home, remember, we kind of drew the line at 40% and below are guys that we feel are under-owned that you should be considering adding to your team to improve the ball club. And we're going to start with Kyle Harrison of the Milwaukee Brewers, 40% owned, former San Francisco Giant. He is 1-1, 2.10 ERA, 1.02 WHIP. K per nine's at 9.2, and we all love XFIP 3.11. I think Zums is a Kyle Harrison fan. What do you think of this one?
Not only a fan, but an owner. I think Kyle Harrison going to the pitching factory up in Milwaukee is one of the best things he could have done. So I actually hold Kyle Harrison, Logan Henderson, Aaron Ashby, and Brandon Woodruff. So I have a lot of stock invested in the Milwaukee Brewers pitchers. Now, that being said, I think he's kind of discovered something this year. I actually traded for Kyle Harrison. I traded for him back on May 4th. I received Kyle Harrison and Kai Wei Teng, who was, dropped shortly thereafter, but I traded away Reed Detmers and Seth Lugo, both of which have been average to below average pitchers since the deal. Kyle Harrison has been fantastic. I think he's going to rack up the wins. He's getting the innings in. He just goes out there and does these things. He's the definition of me of a very safe floor guy. He's not necessarily who I want to build my staff around, but he's absolutely a supplementary safe piece, similar to the guy I traded away, Seth Lugo. It's kind of how I view him, but I view Kyle Harrison as having significantly more upside with the number of wins that he can possibly get, and I love the pitching staff up there in Milwaukee. It's funny, Sean. I was actually so I coach track, and we recently had our diocesan championships across the last few weekends. And there's a track runner who I talk to every single practice. He's a fantastic runner, by the way, one of the best in the diocese, if not the best in the diocese. He has a fantasy baseball team. He is a subscriber to our channel. He loves the game of baseball. He loves talking about it. And he handed me his phone. He said, "Here's my team." He said, "Do you have any advice?" So I took his phone. I looked at his pictures that he had, and who do you think sitting out there? Kyle Harrison.
Kyle
This was
Harrison.
this was 3 weeks ago. We picked up Kyle Harrison. I can't even tell you who we dropped. I don't remember. But when I saw that name
Doesn't
pop
matter.
up, it was an absolute no-brainer. Picked him up. He has paid dividends since then, and I assume that the aforementioned individual that I helped is doing quite well, and we hope that he is. So that's the kind of stuff that comes to light in real time. People who listen, people who ask questions, people who trust the insight and the visibility to look at these metrics. I think the change of scenery from San Francisco to Milwaukee was significant in the development of Kyle Harrison.
And speaking of trust, Zom, I've been pulling a lot of stats utilizing ChatGPT, and I sold Kyle Harrison 2 full points short on the K per nine. I said it was 9.1. He's at 11.17 on the K per nine, only 40% owned. You said it. You said it best. He's here to stay, and you should be excited for him in the future. Zom, this is another guy I believe you've had for sure. Bailey Ober,
Yep,
35%.
yeah,
Take
I
us
have.
take us through Bailey Ober.
He's a big guy. I will say that. I think first we just got to look at the pedigree here. So not a high round pick, round 12, pick one, overall 346th. He's a big dude, 6'9", 260 pounds, doesn't throw necessarily hard for the size that he has. But he is somebody who's just been, for the most part, really, really consistent in the league. Minnesota, while they're still treading water up there in the AL Central, I just don't think they have much to look forward to overall. Bailey Ober, he's somebody who's having a bit of a resurgence of a year. So right now he is on a 1 year, $5.2 million contract. You could definitely see a guy like this getting flipped here at the deadline or before a team who's looking for a steady middle of the rotation type arm. He's 5-2. He's only 30 years old. He's 5-2. Um, 10 games started, 57 innings pitched. We can do the math there. It's almost 6 innings per start. His K per nine, Sean, you're not going to like this. So historically, from 2021 through 2026, I'm going to round it to the nearest whole number, 9, 8, 9, 10, 7, 6 in terms of his Ks per nine. So walks per nine are also up closer to 3 per 9 innings here. Ground ball rate isn't exceptionally high. It's below league average, gives up a lot of hard contact, but his ERA is at 3.63, xERA 3.8, xFIP 4.72. Again, I'm just going to keep saying it. I know I probably don't have to. It depends on what you're dropping. It depends on what you're trading away in order. I view him, again, I don't view him as a high upside kind of guy right now. But he can certainly produce those individual games that just kind of make you think like where the hell was this been all this time? Because he has the stuff to do it. He's not going to do it with strikeouts, but he went 9 innings against Miami on the 12th, 2 hits, 7 Ks, complete game shutout, and put up 42 points in a single start in our league. I mean, if I'm on the receiving end of that, I'm absolutely pissed. Um, but he has the ability to do it. He's a frustrating pitcher because his stuff's not electric. But he's safe. And I think, especially in a 20-team league, these are the kind of guys that you want to have 3 or 4 of. He's not a guy you're building. He's not a guy you're building around.
Yeah, and you mentioned it on 5-12 at home against the Marlins, complete game shutout with 9 Ks. So that's why he made this list. And it's surely there's teams out there that are ravished with injuries, and 35% ownership is kind of that threshold where it's like, all right, this is going to be someone that people are looking at. I would take my chances with him just knowing that he already did it, just days ago. So Bailey
Yeah.
Ober, if you're looking for help, that's a guy to consider. And our third
I'm
name to
gonna I'm
consider.
gonna I'm gonna introduce the third guy because I'm gonna let you talk about him. I do not have a strong analysis on this third player. I have thoughts on him, but my analysis certainly isn't as strong as yours might be. So I'm gonna introduce the player that is 21% owned with the Los Angeles Dodgers, who has been the subject of many conversations on this pod in particular, and it's Roki Sasaki. His last start against the Angels on 5/17, he went 7 strong of 1 earned, 4 hit ball, 8 Ks in a win. He's 2-3. If these are Chat GPT, 5.09 ERA, 1.45 WHIP, 8.63 Ks per nine, and an xFIP of 4.37. We just have, and I'm going to leave it with this, and I'm going to let you go. We just haven't seen it enough to get excited about.
Yeah, so we I believe it was the first or second episode. No, it was further into the year where he had a few bad starts, and Zom was ready to throw him to the wolves. And I just remember, and the reason why I'm so I'd say passionate, adamant about Roki Sasaki is I do have him in my dynasty league where he was a keeper for me. So I've had we've now had him for a couple of years now, and so I'm obviously rooting for him. And he's only 24 years old. He chose the Los Angeles Dodgers coming over from Japan. And he was highly touted coming over. And I just think, you see it so many times. You see it with Bubba Chandler. You see it, these young pitchers, it does take time. And I just thought that the Dodgers felt strongly about him. So did I. And I just kind of, I trusted that he would one day climb Everest, and it's starting to look like we've made it. He's strung a handful of starts in a row that he's getting into the 6th inning, he's getting into the 7th inning. So now is the time you want to grab him. He's only 21% owned in 2 weeks. If he has another few good starts, that number will skyrocket. So I'm saying get in now on Roki Sasaki. Zone, we talk about Bailey Ober. Right? His fastball velocity average, it was like 89.1. Roki Sasaki, 97.3. The guy's got gas. He's on the Dodgers. I would take my chances with Roki Sasaki.
I think the disparity here. I'm going to break down a trade that was just completed in real time in our 20-team league. Sean, Tyrese acquired Christian Walker and Austin Riley and traded away Bryce Harper to the Blind Squirrels. Bryce Harper, who's having a nice resurgence. Sean, by the way.
So I'm a big Bryce Harper hater, which I kind of agree.
So Rocky Sasaki, real quick, let me go back to him. I think what you do with him depends upon the kind of league format that you're in. Meaning, in this case, if you are in a dynasty league, I have no issue holding him. If you're in a redraft league and there's better options out there, I have no problem dropping him. So his disparity in terms of what I would do would be solely dependent based upon the kind of league that you're in. So
You would
I
drop
think
Roki Sasaki after going 7 1 run 8Ks.
I have no issue if you're in a 10 or 12 team league when you have guys out there who have proven it more of dropping Roki Sasaki. Yeah.
And I
And
think
no issue with that at all.
so.
Let's
He
revisit. Let's revisit. Let's highlight and revisit.
all right,
Not a fan.
all right. Zum's out on Roki.
I think he's a crybaby. I think he's mentally fragile. He looks like he's gonna cry every time he gives up a hit. So I mean, I think he's just soft. I do.
Just to support him here, he's now gone. It's his last 4 starts: 5 innings, 6 innings, 5 innings, 7 innings, which he couldn't get in deep into the games previously. So we could be seeing something now. We'll have to revisit later. All right, that'll wrap up the waiver wire ads, and now in the segment everyone is waiting for, the critically acclaimed, award-winning, The Word on Wall Street. Zum, I do feel like this is probably where we bring the most value because we mentioned the waiver wire starting to cool off a bit, and now it's time to start ripping people off on trades. I would like to start doing that myself. I've made one trade so far. It was essentially McGonagall for Jazz Chisholm straight up. I did get Ryan Nelson back in it and have since cut him, and now he's looking decent again, but I'm sure he'll blow up. But this is the time where you want to make trades. Like in fantasy football, it's hard to trade because you really only have a handful of positions. In baseball, you have a bunch as far as around the field and pitchers and relievers. So we've pinpointed a few buy low targets, and then we have one sell high for you. 3 hitters, 3 pitchers here on the buy low. Starting with Manny Machado, the third baseman of the San Diego Padres in 2026, supporting a 601 OPS, 180 batting average, 6 home runs, 20 RBIs, 24 runs scored in one swipe. Now, I'm not the biggest Manny Machado fan in the world, but this segment is essentially finding folks that want to abandon the back of the baseball card mentality and will jump ship too soon. And I think Manny Machado fits that mold. The 601 OPS isn't going to stick. Do you agree, Manny Machado, someone to target if you're looking for a power hitting third baseman?
I'm not a fan of Manny Machado either. Had the chance to draft him 33rd overall, and he fell past that point. But I'm first off, I'm astonished at what the batting average is. 182. We all know about the pedigree and the consistency of Manny Machado year in and year out. He's typically going to get you anywhere from 25 to 35 home runs, maybe hit close to 90 to 100 RBIs, bat around 260, 270, batting 182. But Sean, look at the underlying metrics. The batting average of balls in play, BABIP, which we also love to cite here. He's batting 195, a batting average of balls in play, where he historically has hit the following, going backwards from 2025: 307, 302, 268, 337, 290, 297. Okay, so that number's going to come up, meaning when balls are put in play, he's either getting unlucky or he's hitting the mat people. Those things are going to start falling in. What I have noticed, though, Sean, he only had one other year where his walk rate was over 10%, and that was back in 2020. So small sample size in 2020, 60 games played. He's walking 12% of the time and striking out 22% of the time. Both of those numbers are up versus historical averages here. I think you know what you're getting with Manny Machado. I think he is the heartbeat of that offensive lineup over there. I do not believe in Fernando Tatis, who, as of this filming, has still yet to hit a home run. I'm willing to try to acquire Manny Machado. I'm obviously not overpaying, but I think that when you look at regression and trend, there's no way that he sticks where he's sticking right now. Just no way.
Yeah, I think we agree. We agree on this one. Not huge fans of Manny Machado, the player necessarily, but I think this is an obvious buy low. And you hit the nail on the head. The BABIP way below his career average, and the walks way up. So that's a pretty good formula for good days ahead for Manny Machado. You also mentioned Tatis. That's incredible. He's still at 0 home runs. Maybe the steroids were helping him those,
I
handful of years
saw
ago.
I saw today, or it was either today or yesterday. I don't remember his average launch angle in 2026. Do you want to go ahead and guess what his average launch angle is, Sean?
Oh man, probably negative. I don't know. I
It's
have
it's like
no
it's
guess.
it's it's like it's like 3%.
3%.
3%.
Um,
You're not going to be hitting many home runs with a 3% launch angle.
yeah. Well, hey, I can't say. Uh, do you
I
wish him
can't.
well? I don't know.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not a fan of the
Yeah.
player. I'm not a fan of the
Yeah.
player. I'm not a fan of his game. I'm not going to wish him well. We
Same.
wish him. We
All
wish
right.
him. Good, we wish him good health.
Here's someone I'd wish well. Corey Seager of the Texas Rangers. You're going to see a trend here of these players where, again, it's we're end of May. You're looking for someone that is going to overreact to a slow start and part ways with someone that they shouldn't be parting ways with. Corey Seager, I think, fits that mold. He hasn't been good in 2026. 638 OPS, 179 batting average, 7 home runs, 20 RBIs, 22 runs scored, only one steal. But he's a guy that's constantly in the 800s with the OPS. We've maintained that when he's healthy, he's a stud. He's healthy, but the numbers aren't there. I think this is the time you could send a nice buy low offer on Corey Seager. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So if you just wanna run the full numbers out, projected over 162 here, 27 home runs. You're looking at 85 RBIs, 77. I'm sorry, you're looking at 77 RBIs and 85 runs. I mean, not bad. You'll take it. I look to again. I'm gonna cite Babbitt because just as we talk xFIP with pitchers, I think Babbitt's kind of the parallel statistic that you see in the batting world. Batting average of balls in play, 2025 299, 2024 291, 2023 340, 2022 242. This year 208. He's batting 179. Hasn't gotten it started yet. You just wonder with a guy like this, have injuries caught up to him. When he started with the Rangers, 33 home runs in 2022, 33 home runs in 2023, upwards of high 80s, low 90s in terms of RBIs and runs, batting around, wide range of batting averages, but he's typically going to be in the upper 280s or 290s. Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think of where he is in terms of contract. He is in the midst of, wow, he's only on year 4 of a 10-year, $325 million contract. Um, is he somebody that we could see getting dealt? Somebody want to take that contract on? I don't know. Um, but we wonder about the age here. He's 33, plays shortstop, has been hurt a lot in his career. Are we starting to just see? Do we want to be caught holding the bag with Corey Seager? I don't know. I don't know, Sean.
Well, I think you found my trend on these buy lows. The Babbitt way low on his career numbers. The 208 is low. Last year was 299. Yeah, like I love looking for these kind of guys where someone wants to abandon ship early, and then he in 5 days he hits 6 home runs or something like that. He's someone that can do that. And so yeah, sometimes you got to take a chance. Could he totally fizzle out? I think it's unlikely. So I'd get some Corey Seager stock.
Let's talk about Ketel Marte as our third and final guy, Sean. OPS 654, hitting 222, 6 home runs, 20 RBI, 24 runs, no stolen bases, which is a little bit surprising based upon the build of this individual, but he doesn't really steal a lot of bases. It's odd, and in a points league, all points matter. Doesn't matter how you get them. It's funny, Sean. I'm going to say this and let you kind of run with Ketel Marte here. I had owned Ketel Marte before he came out a few years ago and just absolutely destroyed the league. He was obviously that's built into his price on draft day. That being said, I watch a lot of MLB Network when I'm winding down in the evening, and they are constantly highlighting Ketel Marte, and I'm like, what's gotten into this? Everybody's covering Ketel Marte, and they're just showing his actual performance versus what they think his performance should be. So I'm looking at his Savant page. He is batting 222. His XBA is 285. That gap of .063 is some of the highest in the entire league. Okay, so a lot of bad luck there. His expected slug is 449. His exit velo is fantastic. He's hitting the ball hard. The results, just as of right now, are not really there. 6 home runs are deflated from his prior home run totals of 36 in 2024 and 28 in 2025. He looked like a pretty consistent player year over year from 2024 to 2025. Sean, I'm not worried about Ketel Marte. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, I would just if you just want to look back to 2023 at running his OPS, it's 844 and 23, then 932 and 24, 893 in 2025, and now it's 654 and currently in 2026. I've for pitching, I'm xFIP, for hitting OPS, and I would say he's not on the decline of his career just yet. He's 32 years old. He won't be 33 until October. He kind of reminds me. I've kind of put him in the same bucket of with Jose Ramirez as far as infielder, kind of the same age. It is surprising that he doesn't steal bases really at all. Like, you're not going to get steals with him for last year. The big thing is health with him. He's had like hamstring injuries in the past. He'll go on the IL from time to time. But the point is, his stock is low right now, and I don't see it getting lower at this point. So this could be something that could be a big reward if you put in the right offer. All right, those are our three hitters. Going over to the three pitchers on the buy low list. I had to put this guy on the list again. He's a fan favorite on the show. Jesus Luzardo of the Philadelphia Phillies. 3-3 record. This is why he's on here. 5.07 ERA. Let's jump all the way over to the xFIP. It's 2.73. Maybe there's some discrepancy there on how good of a pitcher he is according to the ERA to the xFIP, because then you look at the K per nine off the charts, 11.05. So to me, the buy low window is still open from Jesus Luzardo. He had that great start a handful of weeks ago, and then he's had one or two duds since. So it's still the window is still open. It's on 11.05 K per nine. I'd like to see what his BABIP is, because it has to be high. But are you still a fan of Luzardo and maybe acquiring him?
Yeah, I am. I think obviously xFIP is a better indicator than ERA, which we've talked about a little bit earlier. I've owned Jesus Luzardo in the past. I owned him when he was a Miami Marlin. He's obviously in a much better situation now in Philly. I'm very bullish after seeing what that rotation looks like. I know we talked about it earlier, but I'm remiss to even mention Jesus Luzardo as the third guy in that threesome up there with Sanchez and
And
Wheeler.
Wheeler.
Yeah, with Sanchez and Wheeler. So yeah, no, I think he's good. I think you look at 5.07. This is a prime example of taking advantage of somebody who might not know the underlying metrics when it comes to Jesus Luzardo. They might see ERA 5.07, WHIP 1.33. Yeesh, that's terrible. Maybe I can just trade him based upon name recognition, and they might think that they're pulling one over on you. When in reality, xFIP is basically telling you that the regression is going to be a positive one based upon what it should be right now. So I have no issue. I know Jesus Luzardo has been talked about at length on our pod. He's a friend of the program. Obviously, we like Jesus Luzardo. We wish him well. And we hope that, for his sake, that he regresses positively to what the xFIP numbers say.
Yeah, and I looked it up. BABIP 361. Last year was 324. The year before that, 284. The year before that, 311. So there you go. He's having some bad luck is essentially what it is. His K per nine is the highest it's ever been since 2022. Yeah, he's gonna be fine. Looks like the Phillies. It looks like Don Mattingly was the was what the doctor ordered there in Philadelphia, because they came in and made the Pirates look stupid. And yeah, good days ahead for the Phillies. Chris Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, Wheeler, they might get it going. Zums, I know you're gonna have an opinion on this one. Kyle Bradish of the Baltimore Orioles. He's a roller coaster. I think to say the least.
I think he stinks. Let's put it this way. I drafted him with the hopes that he was going to be somebody that he obviously isn't. I'm very passionate about saying I am not a fan of Kyle Bradish. It was exhausting watching those games when he would pitch. Exhausting. He walks guys left and right. He's averaging about 5 walks per start. He's in like Bubba Chandler territory in terms of walks. I cannot stand free passes. I would rather give up slap singles all day, every day. I hate when the hitter doesn't earn it. I hate when the pitcher just gives away at bats, allows these guys to get on base. He's given up more home runs than he historically has. Batting average of balls in plays 3.331. It's got me talking fast, Sean, because I can't stand Kyle Bradish. Now, that being said, ERA 4.13, xERA 4.10. Okay, FIP 4.05, xFIP 3.88. Okay, so there's not much variance there. So he is the pitcher that he is right now. And that's a pitcher that I just can't stand to own. I can't stand all the free passes. He's on a team, like we mentioned before, that isn't very good. He's 2-6 right now. He's not getting many wins. I know that he tends to heat up when the weather heats up. He's not Dominican, so it doesn't really make sense. But he gets better when the weather gets hot. I was not willing to wait around, so I did flip Kyle Bradish. I was getting disgusted with the number of walks that were being given up. Disgusted by it. Makes me
Yeah,
sick. Hate it.
I mean, yeah. So I'm just looking at his game log. Uh, Now, yeah, like we mentioned, it's a roller coaster. His whip is 1.51. That'll account for those walks. But just back on May 8th at home against the Athletics, 7 innings, 10 Ks, only one walk that day. So yeah, so is he somewhat of a headache? Sure, but there's a reason why you liked him in the first place, and he shows flashes. I think that's stuff you bring up in a trade negotiation, because I'm sure you'd take him for peanuts. You don't want to pay a lot for him, but that's the idea. Try and buy low on Kyle Bradish. Uh,
I owned him for 6 starts this year. He averaged 4 points per start for me. I was able to flip him for Carlos Cortez and Trevor Rogers, who is another headache of a starter this year. So yeah, just right now for the horse doctor, not going well. Not going
it's all
well.
right. I have faith in Zums. I have total faith. I think you do too. Hey, another Zums guy, Reed Detmers. I really like Reed Detmers, even though his numbers don't look fantastic currently. I think there's some hope for him. 1-5 record. The ERA is over 5.07. WHIP 1.29. K per nine. We've said it, Zum. Anything over 9 is elite. He's at 9.98. The xFIP 3.84, which is fine. I think Reed Detmers is still a valuable fantasy baseball asset. I'd like to buy low on Detmers. Do you agree?
Yeah, he gave up 8 runs last night to the Athletics in 5 2/3. Now, look, he's always been a high strikeout guy. For him, it's always been about opportunity. I just don't see what else they have out there with the Angels right now. So he's going to get the opportunity to keep that spot. So the stuff is certainly there. It plays, 1-5 right now. Not great. ERA doesn't look good. Obviously, it's inflated based upon that start last night. The whip is a little bit higher than we'd like to see as well, although it's the lowest on the list of Luzardo and Bradish. Ks per nine, I think, are elite. XFIP is also showing some positive regression there as well. So, no, I do like Reed Detmers. Like I said, I traded Reed Detmers in the Kyle Harrison deal. I like Kyle Harrison more than both Reed Detmers and Seth Lugo in a vacuum as well. But again, if he's available, depending upon league construction, I have no issue either targeting him or picking him up off of free agency if the price is right, if it makes sense, as always.
There you have it. There you have it. And then here we go. We would be remiss if we didn't have at least one sell higher. This wouldn't be the word on Wall Street. From Titusville, PA, J.J. Blade, who's you've seen the video. I was taking one of my strolls a few moons ago around PNC Park, was walking right by Ben Charrington. This would have been, 2 seasons ago? And I said, you got to trade for J.J. Blade. trade for JJ Bleday, and look who has a 1.055 OPS, 292 batting average, 6 home runs, 20 RBIs, 12 runs scored, and a swipe. Now, Zums, the reason why I'm selling high, the career OPS 720, career batting average 236. So he's obviously going through a hot streak right now, and I've always been a fan of Bleday. He's got a sweet swing from the left side of the plate. But yeah, I think you could get a nice return on a sell high of JJ Bleday. Do you agree?
The legend of SFI only grows with stories like that. No, I have seen the video. I can certainly vouch for the validity of it. Yeah, no, I think you look at trends again. Did this guy just discover how to hit a baseball well consistently? I don't think so. I think that the track record is too long to show that he has not. If you own him, flip him.
There you have it. It's as simple as that. Capitalize on this hot streak and flip them. All right, Zums, that'll wrap up the word on Wall Street. Let's have a little bit of fun here, and then we're going to wrap it up with some Bucco talk, some trivia. I'm
gonna go first. I got a trivia question for you, and I think you're gonna like it. I think it's a real doozy, actually. And I'm not gonna give you multiple choice unless you request multiple choice. Deal?
Sounds good.
So the question I have for you today, May 20th, 2026. Mm-hmm. Who is the only active MLB player with at least 2,000 hits who also maintains a career batting average of above 300?
So it's an active player with 2,000 hits and a batting average over 300?
That's correct.
Give me the multiple choice. I want the multiple choice.
Okay. A, Jose Altuve. B, Freddie Freeman. C, Manny Machado. Or D, Mookie Betts.
Okay, 2,000 hits, 300 average. Okay, one more time, the four.
A, Jose Altuve. B, Freddie Freeman. C, Manny Machado. D, Mookie Betts.
I'll go with Mookie Betts.
Okay. So I'm going to read off the stats of these players. Ready? Freddie Freeman, 2,477 hits, a 299 career average.
I didn't think he was 300.
It is not Freddie Freeman. Manny Machado, 2,099 hits, 277 average. Probably the easiest one to eliminate.
Yes.
Mookie Betts.
I was down to Altuve and Betts.
Mookie Betts. 1,777 hits,
so
289 average. Jose Altuve, 2,428 hits with a 302 average. Barely. Dang. I was thinking that you were definitely going to go Freddie Freeman.
Well, yeah.
It's close. That's as close as it can get.
That is close. Yeah. No, I guess I gave Mookie some credit. He's dealt with some injuries of late. I wish him well. 300 bowler. He's bowled a handful of 300s. Yeah, but
great athlete. Yeah, definitely
fantastic athlete. All right, Zums, you're gonna like this one. It's straight and to the point. And let me know if you need multiple choice. In our league, you get penalized bigly for offensive strikeouts, hitters that strike out. In 2026, who leads Major League Baseball in strikeouts with 74?
We're talking hitters, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, I know the answer to this because I looked it up yesterday because I was curious about what the strikeout rate was. I believe the strikeout rate for this individual is like 38.4%, which is anemic. It's baffling to me. The hitter that we're thinking of, and I do not need multiple choice because I know the answer to this and I am confident I would not need to phone a friend. The only way that I would phone a friend is to call them and tell them, hey, I'm going to win the $1 million right now. It is O'Neal Cruz, center fielder, Pittsburgh Pirates.
You got it right, Zoe.
He you know what? Again, there's a recurring theme here with, guys that we talk about. I own most of these guys, or I drafted most of these guys, and I traded them away. I think I traded him away, Sean, after one game. Is that right? 1 or 2 games this year?
Yeah, I think you traded him the day after he made the errors in center field.
I can't stand the lack of baseball IQ. I see the holes in the swings. Like, yes, you see the power numbers, but there is so much swing and miss in his game. 38% strikeout rate is like James Wood late 2025 numbers. It is baffling that he strikes out 2 out of 5 times. It is incredible. I think it's awful. I think he's low IQ, and I think that honestly, what he does is a microcosm of what's going on right now with the Buccos. Which, hey, I think it's a perfect segue into a little bit of Bucco talk. All
Yeah,
right.
let's land the plane with some Bucco talk. They just lost last night to the St. Louis Cardinals. That's the reason I have my gold and blue on. Wanted to shout out J.J. Weatherholt, the Inzer Mountaineer, another home run. But all right, Zums, we have to
There,
be a little worried, right?
there, there, there's no heartbeat, and I think I sent that out to the group chat last night. There's When they went down 3-0, I thought that was it. Yes, great. They came back, made it 4-3. I went to bed because I just knew how it was going to turn out based upon how they're playing. There is no heartbeat. There's no testicular fortitude in that locker room. The leadership freaking stinks. The bullpen stinks even more. The manager looks in over his head. Guys are starting to regress back to what they have been. It's just coming apart. 24-24. I don't want to be an alarmist, but I'm going to be an alarmist. I think that this team is cooked on May 20th. I think they're done.
Mm.
I think that they're in the cellar and that they are going to stay in the cellar.
I'm definitely not ready to completely panic. Am I worried? Certainly. The thing that has me worried the most, maybe more than the bullpen, is O'Hearn's going to be out a month, and he's been fantastic. He's been able to hit the ball over the fence. He's been better than we thought in the outfield. And then when you have to put him at first base, he can play first base. Did you notice who was playing first base last night? Jared Triolo, which I was laughing at, and then he goes 3 for 3 after I tweeted something. But I'm worried about O'Hearn missing time now the password's up. You know, uh,
He had some very uncompetitive at bats last night from what I saw.
yeah. I mean, you can't really expect uh, results right away
Why?
from him.
Why can't I expect that?
From the password. I
Yeah,
mean, I think
he's a major league baseball player who mashes, man. Like, come on, we're not like he's up, he can hit. Let's hit.
no,
You got guys on second and third with a chance up 4-3 to make it 6-3, and you pop up on the first pitch in a non-competitive at bat. Like, just slap the ball somewhere, man. Get the ball out
well,
there.
well, yeah, I'm saying like he hasn't done it at this level.
I'm
And
not patient. I'm not patient, and I think people who listen to this show probably understand that I'm not patient when it comes to stuff like this. I have no tolerance for mediocrity when it comes to guys like this. Get your ass up here, hit the ball, win some games. I think it's ridiculous. I'm pissed.
well,
I'm
so
pissed.
where are you at the worry meter at 10?
Oh, I'm pissed. Yeah, my Bucko fever has never been lower. Yeah,
Oh,
man, I'm in friggin' blankets and a winter hat over here, dude. It's bad. It's really, really
well,
bad.
I think the one thing that we can make us feel a little bit better is this quote unquote the strength of schedule up until this point is they've been playing a lot of winning baseball teams. Have you noticed that the New York Yankees? It's May 20th. They don't have one win against a team over 500. The Pirates right now, I think they're a little bit of a victim of being in the NL Central, which is looking to be the best division in baseball, which for years it used to be like that all the time. Now all of a sudden we're good, and boom, the NL Central's back to the old days. I so here's my hot take. And I'm gonna try and reel you in and get you back on board. Let's not completely judge them until we get a little bit of time with Jared Jones back in the rotation. Now I know we're talking about hitting just a second ago. He's gonna I think he's gonna come in and instantly go into the rotation, and Skeens gets his buddy back. I think Jones. I think it's gonna be a pretty natural transition to get him back into the big leagues. He's throwing 100 right now in the rehab.
You can't keep losing these games. I agree with you. I've changed my tune on Jared Jones. I said I don't know that he's cut out to be a starter in this league for long term. You absolutely have no doubt that he has to slot right into that rotation. I don't care what they do to figure out Bubba Chandler or Carmen Majinski. I don't care what they do with him. They got to get him in. That he brings electricity. He brings an edge to him.
An
I,
attitude.
He does, and nobody in that locker room outside of Paul Skeens has any balls. Nobody. They all look timid. Brian Reynolds is in the Roki Sasaki category of looks like he's going to cry. O'Neal Cruz doesn't look like he has a clue what's going on when he's out there. He's daydreaming. His head's in the clouds. He's running. He's not tagging up. He's not fielding balls the right way. He just looks like he doesn't care. It's irritating to me. It really pisses me off. And you have guys like Hank Davis up there who's trying to bunt runners over and can't even get a bunt down. You're telling me the 1-1 overall pick who was supposed to come in as this elite hitter can't put a bunt down and then proceeds to look at a strike three right down the middle. You know what? Screw that guy. I don't care that he's Paul Skeen's personal catcher. Get him out. Keep Endy in there every single start. I don't care. If you want to spell him with Hank Davis once every 5 days, fine. Do it that way. There is no reason that he needs to be seeing the field. I don't care that Paul Skeens likes him. He is dreadful. He is, I don't know who watches the show, so I'm not going to say it, but he's effing terrible. He is terrible.
Yeah, it's definitely time to pass the torch to Endy. He's a switch hitting catcher. The book on Endy was used always a plus defender, and what's funny is the book on Henry Davis was used a plus hitter and kind of a shitty catcher, and now it's totally the opposite. His batting average is I think it's lower than Brian Hayes right now. If anytime I go on X, there's a Red fan just like completely freaking out on Brian Hayes. So thank God we don't have both of these guys. But I think Henry Davis is a huge part of the problem. I do because for a while Triolo was hurt, so at least Triolo wasn't getting out for a while because he wasn't on the field. Henry Davis, it seems like he's back there every day, and yeah, he's almost an automatic out. It seems like we all agree on Bart. That was fun while it lasted. It's Endy. Endy's the guy. They like him in the locker room. I like his swings. Like I like his approach. Like I said, he's a switch hitting catcher, maybe like a Jorge Posada type guy. What about the catcher we traded David Bednar for? David Bednar might be nice right now. A nice arm out of the bullpen. As I can see the steam coming out of Zum's ears. But yeah,
I'm irritated. I'll let you land the plane here, but I'm done. I'm done talking about it. I'm irritated.
So, all right, couple things before we land the plane. Do you agree? We're talking about Jared Jones. He's obviously a pitcher. Yeah, next question when he was asked about, are you going to come into the bullpen? Next question. And so would you agree, just by osmosis, when a guy like that is on the mound, has an attitude, don't you agree that stuff's contagious and can transition over to the offense and see results in that way?
Is this a one word? You want me to give a one word answer?
Use as many words as you want.
No, I'm just going to use one. Sure.
So you agree that exists, that type of psychology. So that's why I am worried. I think I'm most worried about Don Kelly. I don't know if he's necessarily cut out for this job. The bullpen does worry me, but I'm gonna wait until Jared Jones has like a month. So I'd say July is gonna be the moment of truth. We'll know exactly what we have in July. Hopefully they acquire, something. You know me in the offseason, I wanted a third baseman, and we really don't have a third baseman. I don't want Gonzalez at third; he's too short. I don't want Triolo at third. He can't hit. So I still feel like that's a.
Here's the thing: you're willing to wait until July when they're 14 and a half games out.
Well, they're 500 right now, and again, the schedule right now has been very hard up until this point. I know it's 162. You end up playing everyone, but I do know that they've played a difficult schedule compared to most. What's crazy, Zon? What's really hurting us is everyone in the baseball community said the Cardinals were completely punting and they're going to stink this year and they're going to like lose 100 games, and they look good. All right. Well, thank God we don't live and die by the Buccos. That's why we play fantasy baseball. Because whenever we're used to them losing 100, and then then you end up focusing on your fantasy baseball team. I'll give you a couple thoughts on the Buccos, and let's sign off.
Yeah. I think I say it all the time. We're trying to get this thing off the ground here. We post these videos out there for viewing, but not only viewing for engagement of some kind. We were just talking before the call started here, like any kind of engagement's good engagement. If you wanna call me ugly, or you wanna call me stupid, or you wanna think that my takes are really really bad, like that's better
We
than
love that.
not saying anything at all. We want the interactions, we want the feedback, we want to know what you guys think about this. We want your questions more than anything. We're trying to think of ways to kind of expand the show and make this popular. We know that there's a lot of competitors in this space, and while this isn't like our day-to-day job where it is for a lot of people, it's something that we're passionate about, and it's something that obviously we hop on here weekly. We try to stay ahead of the trends and give you what we can. But more than anything, it's just two guys who love talking baseball. It's really become a huge part of my life. Not only when I was playing, but with my son playing now, it's something that I surround myself with. It's constantly on the TV here. My son's constantly watching. He's learning. So I am very passionate about it. I probably watched more baseball in the last 2 to 3 years than I've watched in the prior 10 years. And that's saying a lot because I watch every game. So I'm constantly putting time into trying to find things, trying to find edges here, trying to not only draft the best team but manage the best team. Sometimes luck and injuries happen, but again, I think, Sean, the way that I see this, and I know that you can probably agree with me on this, is that we want the engagement. We want the questions more than anything. When it comes full circle and somebody comes up to me in person, again, now granted, I live in a bubble a little bit, but like, when he came up to me and asked me those questions about his team and his roster and stuff, like that's cool. That's a moment where you're like, wow, like this kid, not only do I coach him, but he does trust that I know what I'm talking about. It's a small example. It's not significant in the grand scheme of things, but hey, let's get the questions, let's get the feedback. This is my plea to you to just say something. Say something. We want to make it. We want to enjoy it. We eventually at some point want to get a sponsor potentially. We want to kind of grow the show. We want to bring on guests from the fantasy baseball community. And that's something that we're certainly planning on. It's not just us blowing smoke at this point in time. We're trying to figure out how to fit that in and how to get, certain people on who have already committed to this. But it's something that we're passionate about, something that we're going to continue doing regardless of whether or not we get the feedback that we like, because we enjoy doing it. So I'll log off here with that. But I think, Sean, as always, I would certainly be remiss if I didn't bless the troops. And what would you say?
God bless the troops. We appreciate, like Zung mentioned, any type of interaction is awesome. I think there's more people out there than we might guess, that are following along. So this is us just encouraging you guys. If you think, like some said, if we're sounds something silly or if there's a mistake, hit us up. We need like the stat boy from back in the PTI days, Tony Reale. Stat boy, what did we get wrong? Anything like that. But some said it great. God bless the troops, and we'll see you next time. This has been Good Faith and Fastballs.